Aaron Rodgers, owner of the Bears, going up against him again. This is going to be a quick show, guys. All right. Spoiler alert. Packers are going to win. We just got to try to figure out how to play a DFS with this particular game. So, showdown, Bears versus Packers, Sunday Night Football. The Edge DFS. My name's Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. We're going to do this show a little bit different, right, Ellie? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity to try a little different format here. I don't think anybody is going to need us to say, hey, play Devontae Adams, play Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers. If you do need that kind of feedback, you probably want to send us a PM in Discord or something. You obviously need a little bit more one-on-one development, which isn't a problem, right? I mean, look, if you need help and you want to learn about DFS, then feel free to reach out to us and see if we can work on it together. But for this show, I think we're going to stop. Maybe I don't know if you still wanted to do this, but I did want to look at tight end. I think that's the position that there's going to be some obvious value at here.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we need to spend time building. It's going to be a pain in the ass building for tonight. And I think that's where everyone's really going to need their help, not figuring out who to play.
Yeah, our breakdown is just going to consist of us talking a little bit more about some of these value plays that we might be comfortable with. And then we'll eventually jump into our lineup build and spend a little bit more time into that, because it's the construction. The roster construction is going to be really important tonight, because you just can't play all the three studs that you want to play from the Packers. I mean, you could, but you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit. So we got to figure that out. And then plus you got David Montgomery on the other side. Do we want to play Justin Fields at 9,800? Everybody that you really want to play is priced up. Now there's a guy, MVS, who has 19 targets over the last 2 games. And he's a home run, hit or miss type guy that maybe I'd feel comfortable at captain. But even at 7,200, it's still hard to fit all these guys in. So let's just get right into the Vegas line here. This is we don't have ownership out yet, so I mean we'll be able to guess pretty close to what we think ownership will come in at. But this is gonna be an ass whooping in Green Bay. -12 is the spread as of now. That could go up, that could go down. We'll see. And look, we've talked a little bit about division rivalry games past week 10 hitting the under like 60+% of the time since 2005. I think was the number. I don't know, man. I think that this can hit the over simply with 35 points from Green Bay, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm really kind of torn on this one. I think I actually bet the under here. I have an idea it's going to end up being pretty cold. Green Bay is going to jump up to a 10-point lead here pretty quickly, and they're just going to focus on running the ball, which, it kind of brings up some interesting roster construction points that we might be able to get to later. It might be worth kind of maybe fading Aaron Rodgers in a lineup here or there just because there's a possibility he may not get there. This could be one of those Pat Mahomes type blowout games where he's at 15 points or 10 points and doesn't quite get what he needs to pay off his salary. So other than that, man, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to hit the over just because the Bears are so bad. I'm actually trying to look at yards per game.
Wait, the Bears are what we thought they were.
Actually, they're worse.
They're what we thought they were.
Yeah.
So the Chicago Bears, the Matt Nagy-led Chicago offense, is averaging 180 points or 187 yards per game passing, which is the lowest in the
history of the Oh, I was close.
No, it is. Like the last time this happened was in like 1955 before like passing was in the NFL. So I'll see if I can find the tweet. It's neither here nor there. It's not relevant, and share it to the Discord. But it's some crazy stuff. They're doing pretty bad, and that's including some starts with like Andy Dalton. I wouldn't necessarily anticipate anything different from Justin Fields because they should be babying him if he's going to be their franchise guy. But I don't know, man. I don't see how they can. I think that 15.5 implied total is kind of lofty. I think they're probably going to sit closer to 10. Green Bay is probably going to be 24, and it's going to be a pretty low scoring game.
Green Bay has a pretty good defense too, especially if we wanted to look at their defense in this game. I don't think that that's wrong at all, and I think their defense will probably come in 25% owned, maybe, and then you'll get a lot of in the captain. This might be a Green Bay captain defense chalk night. Don't you think? Like maybe a 10% owned as the captain tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see some people start to run that. I would be more likely to play them at captain if Andy Dalton was playing. And that's just because he's more turnover prone. I just think Justin Fields is going to be limited on what he's going to be able to do. So unless it's a fumble, it's probably not going to have too many opportunities for pick sixes.
And the one thing we need to focus on with Justin Fields is, his rushing ability. We did see him. I don't know if it was a Monday night game or something. It was earlier in the year. He came in and he did pretty well, and they should have actually won that game. I think they got screwed out of a win. The Bears did earlier in the year. Look, you might see a little bit of magic out of him tonight. He's 9,800. I don't have a problem with playing him quite a bit. He'll probably be 35-40% owned total, maybe. Which seems a little low for a guy that can run the ball. I'm a little bit higher on him because I think at this point they're just going to unleash him. I mean, what does Matt Nagy have to lose?
Right.
There's nothing. I mean, he's going to get fired, so why not try to go out? This is a last hurrah. Throw him out there and let him have some fun. He doesn't have to worry about his future much because he's not going to be involved with it. All right, so injury-wise, Randall Cobb's on the IR. Marquise Goodwin is doubtful. And Damian Williams is probable he'll be back, but he looks like he's going to be the third string guy. I don't even know if I'm going to touch him at all this week. I think that's pretty much it for injuries. Are you seeing anything on your end?
No.
All right. So let's get into a shorter breakdown. All right. So this is going to be very short, right? So let's just talk about some bullet points here. Aaron Rodgers, 12K. Devontae Adams, 11.6K. Aaron Jones, 10.6K. Montgomery, 10K, and Justin Fields, 9,800. So I'm going to want minimum of three of these guys in your lineups. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers is the one that gets left out because, like you said, it might just be where he's not going to be passing the ball much in the second half. So how do we handle this roster construction-wise with all these studs? I think people are going to forget about Aaron Jones a little bit because of A.J. Dillon's and the injury to Aaron Jones over the past few weeks. He hasn't really been super reliable. But we're coming off of a bye for Green Bay. How do we handle this, man? Like, do we have to try to get at least Devontae Adams and Jones or Rodgers and Adams? Like, how do we do this?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the approach. You take Rodgers, Adams, Jones, and you try and get two of the three. A.J. Dillon is way down low at 4,400, so I think that he's going to free up some salary to kind of jam in some of these other guys. But I think you really need to focus on getting Rodgers, Adams, Jones, two of those three in every lineup. And with that said, I don't have any handcuff issues today. I don't mind playing Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon together, especially given the price that they got on A.J. Dillon. It's weird. It's like we're seeing the opposite effect of what happened with Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, right? Jamal Williams was going to be that second guy. A.J. Dillon stepped in, and now Aaron Jones was almost kind of becoming the Jamal Williams to
you're right,
himself, right? And as we kind of get closer to the playoffs and we get these more division rivalry games, I think A.J. Dillon is going to be more of an opportunity to start carrying a little bit more of the workload. I mean, there's nothing like trying to tackle a big-ass running back in the middle of Lambeau Field in the mid of December, right?
Yeah, it's going to be cold, man. Yeah, he's the kind of guy you want to have run in the fourth quarter. I think, this is just me just guessing, obviously, but Aaron Jones is the guy that going to get a lot of the run earlier in the game. Maybe it gets out of hand, or maybe it's, 2-touchdown game, and then you might start to see more of this A.J. Dillon at 4,400.
And here's the thing, right? Like, the one point that I want to bring out, like, Aaron Jones is obviously the workhorse back. He is their guy. But where they're at in the records, in the standings, this probably isn't a game necessarily where they need to risk any potential further injury to that guy. So I really think that this is an interesting opportunity to get a little bit more exposure to A.J. Dillon. Now, with that said, I also think that you can kind of consider whether or not you want to play Aaron Jones at all. And if that's the case, I think you can go Dylan, Rogers, Adams, and be pretty comfortable across the board.
And maybe put in an MVS or a tight end or a Lazard. Randall Cobb is out. So I think that Lazard gets the biggest boost here, don't you think?
Yeah,
at 4,800. I mean, Lazard is last year. I think it was when Devontae was out. Lazard stepped in and he played that role pretty well. And he's a big body guy that can dominate in the red zone. And we saw Cobb have some pretty good red zone activity this year. So Alan Lazard is a guy that I think people are going to overlook. And I think Alan Lazard will score a touchdown in this game. At 4,800, you got to try to get him involved, I think. But we don't even need to talk about studs. We know that. What we do have to talk about is we want to get two. Do we want to get one or two or even three because of garbage time potentially? And there's going to be some points. You gotta fit at least probably two of these Bears guys in here, right? So what are you comfortable with today?
Yeah, so I don't know. The first thing I want to say is I don't know that you're going to need two Bears guys in there, but just from a roster construction standpoint, I haven't made that decision yet, and we'll kind of see where we end up when we start building. But I'm going to be prioritizing David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, and then maybe Justin Fields. Those are really kind of the guys that I'm looking to get into my lineups. Darnell Mooney is the number one guy, and he has been. I don't know what they're doing, but for whatever reason, refused to get Allen Robinson involved.
Yeah.
I don't want to overemphasize the game against Arizona. That was a weird game for the Bears. They were getting destroyed, and then later on, they started to get some garbage points.
And they got a garbage time touchdown at the end there. It was a blowout.
Yeah. 4 turnovers. What did Kyler have? Like 120 passing yards and 4 total touchdowns. Yeah, he had they got the ball
12 attempts
at the 30-yard line every single time.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to kind of take that game into account. But I think the one thing that we did learn from that game is go ahead and click on David Montgomery.
Yeah.
They're realizing that he's probably one of the better players they have on the team, and he tends to be inconsistent, but they have their best chance of keeping themselves in games when they get him going, when he has 15, 20 carries.
And look at that, eight receptions on 9 targets. That's where he's going to stick out in this game.
Exactly. Now, and I think that's another important thing to call out, especially with Justin Fields being the starter again. Dump passes, screen passes, those are things that get you into a nice little rhythm. You start getting those completions going, and you can get your running back going as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't call this out, but Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is another really interesting play that I'm looking at from Chicago. Just he's priced down, and these are the kind of performances that we want from a guy around this price. If he gets that 14.7, even if it's closer to 10 to 12, that might be the most production that you get out of the Bears outside of potentially David Montgomery. So that's really what I'm looking at. I don't think you need more than 2 of these guys. I definitely think the Bears kicker is in play, as painful as it is for me to say that. These are pretty much the Vikings when it comes to kicking. By the way, that game was garbage. They missed. What did Greg Joseph miss? Like for the first 2 extra points.
He missed 3. I think he missed three to start the game, 3 kicks, but then he ended up in the optimal.
Yeah, it's craziness. But this is another time, right? If say Chicago takes the ball first and they drive up, and they're going to take 3 points if they need it. They're not going to be going for it. This is probably going to be a very cold weather game, so. I would expect Matt Nagy to be a little bit more conservative when it comes to getting on the opponent's side of the field and taking points when they're available. So I'm a little bit more apt to look at kickers than I would normally here today.
So what are your thoughts on Khalil Herbert here? Is this just the volume is just going way too much to David Montgomery, and he's going to be in the game no matter what in a situation like this? Or can we get Khalil Herbert to score us a random touchdown and maybe get a couple receptions? I don't feel too comfortable with that, but he's priced pretty well, right?
Yeah, I would if Damian Williams wasn't back. The problem is you get Damian Williams back, and then you're going to start splitting some of those rotations. Who's going to be spelling David Montgomery? Those are the things that kind of worry me. When he got the start a couple weeks ago, he absolutely crushed.
Look at these numbers.
And that was against Tampa Bay too. So that's They're not terrible numbers.
He had 4 straight games where he had over 18 carries. I mean, he was going off. I mean, Montgomery's back, so he's never going to get that volume with Montgomery. But at 1,400, you just need a dump off pass that goes for 6, and that might be enough. So I'm willing to try him out. I'm not willing to try much of Williams out at this point, in my opinion, because he's priced up quite a bit, and I think he's clearly the number 3. Now, he can take a couple of snaps from Herbert, but I just don't think that he's going to be the number 2. I could be wrong. He could come out and start the freaking game. I don't know at this point. Who knows? But I don't think if I had to fade one person with a gun to my head today, I'm probably not playing any Damian Williams. That's just me. So on the bottom end here, let's talk a little bit about value, right? So Jakeem Grant had a good game last week. He's at 2,800 against the Cardinals. He's an option at 2,800. Khalil Herbert, obviously, at 1,400 is an option. And then you got to look at Mercedes Lewis at 400 with the injuries to Robert Tonyan, which happened, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think the tight ends have been pretty quiet on this team since then. But Mercedes Lewis at $400, I called it that one game we did, that Cardinals Thursday night game against Green Bay. He's the kind of guy that can score you a touchdown on the goal line, little play action to the back of the end zone. $400, he's in the optimal if he scores a touchdown. And then we got Damiere Byrd at 2,400. So who's your favorite option? Gun to your head. You had to make a choice. Who's your favorite option? Because we're going to need value tonight. Absolutely going to need value.
So I'm initially looking at 2 guys in particular. The first is obviously Mercedes Lewis at $400. I'm just not scared to play a guy who can go out and get a catch and a touchdown. Even then, if he gets 2 receptions for 30 yards at 400, that might be enough to get what we need. The other guy I'm pretty interested in, and I don't know if this totally counts as value, but is Josiah DeGuara at 2,600. He's going to be the starting tight end. He's going to get those opportunities running routes with Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. I guess the easiest way to say this is if they're going to get consistent opportunities with one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, I am not scared to take a couple flyers out. And Josiah DeGuara at 2,600, that's enough, man. He could easily go out and get 3 or 4 receptions for 30, 40 yards and then grab a touchdown. So these are the kinds of things that I'm going to be looking for tonight. I think I'm pretty much stuck on Lewis and DeGuara. I'm not going to be playing both in the same lineup, but other than that, I'm not too comfortable with a lot of this value. I think the only other piece that I might be consider is to your point, Jakeem Grant at 2,800. But even then, I think I might lean a little bit more towards Damiere Byrd at 2,400. I don't want to read too much into what Jakeem Grant did last week. Again, this is a bad comparison because it's all I've got. But he's like a Curtis Samuel type player or DJ Moore, right? He's obviously not on their level, but he's that guy that you get involved in jet sweeps and end arounds and quick screens, who you'll send up the middle of the field for a streak, right? So he does have those little jackknife or those Swiss Army knife opportunities that are going to get him points. And I think that's why he got so many points last week against the Cardinals, is because he was put in positions where the Bears are like, God damn it, we just need to get whatever the fuck we can after this play. Yeah. I think that they're going to be a little bit more balanced and try and utilize their wide receiving core a bit better. With that said, I think Damiere Byrd is going to be the favorite in that type of situation at 2,400. And again, I don't want to spend too much time here, but as long as Allen Robinson is priced like he's a 4th-string wide receiver, I will play him. I will lose all my money playing 6,200 Allen Robinson. I'll probably have him at captain.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I mean, how can you not? I mean, look, in a game like this where the Bears are, projected to score around 15 points, maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe a touchdown, and a couple field goals. If Allen Robinson at that price gets you 10.8 fantasy points, most likely, if there's Bears in the optimal, he's probably going to be one of them. Yeah. So you got to consider it. I mean, he hasn't had his breakout game yet this year. You could probably count on him getting between 5 to 10 fantasy points, but we know what he's capable of. Last year at the end of the year, if you were to tell me to rank him, like I personally thought he was a top 5 talent-wise wide receiver in the NFL. He's still the same guy. He's on a shitty team. So I think Allen Robinson at captain at 6,200 is a really good option. Put him and Justin Fields or him and Montgomery, and then stack the rest of Green Bay. I think that's a pretty good option, actually. So let's go to tight ends real quick. Let's talk about this because there's a lot of tight ends, and it's showdown. We got to talk about tight ends. And also, hang on, let me put up the graphic here. Also, you've got the tight ends at captain, and there's Ellie. That's how it is. So we got to talk about this. Cole Kmet 5,200, Jimmy Graham back from the dead. Are you interested in Jimmy Graham at 4,200? If he was like 1,200 like he usually is, or is 200, that's very interesting to me. But he's being priced up quite a bit. Can we trust him at that price? 2 straight games with a touchdown. Not. 2 straight games with a touchdown.
Well, okay. I guess if you want to play revenge narrative, but the dude's been on the Packers for a while now, hasn't he? Like,
Jimmy Graham on the Bears. Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah. No, never mind. There's no.
He didn't play for. Yeah, there's no revenge. Yeah. I've lost track of all the teams he played for. But yes, I hear you.
I like not to go off on a tangent, but Greg Olson was was announcing a game. I was like, bro, what is going on? Like these old ass tight ends. Anyways. So look, man, I'm not playing Jimmy Graham at that price. That's way too expensive for me. Guy that I'm really targeting here, I think that he's an obvious play, especially compared to Jimmy Graham. I'd rather just pay up for Cole Kmet. He's going to be on for the majority of the time. And again, there's very few ways to get your young quarterback in rhythm than just hitting your running back on dump off passes and your tight end and short, quick outs or just quick posts. So that's where I'm going with that. And I don't think I'm going to be looking back and looking anywhere else.
Yeah, and there's so many options here. I think you got to try to fit one of these guys into your lineup, because they're going to be forgotten about. I think all of them are going to be pretty low owned. All right.
Yeah, Kmet, DeGuara, Lewis, those are the guys I'm looking at.
All right, so let's get into our fades here. Stand by. Not a whole lot to talk about here. I personally don't. I'm going to play. But I'm just not going to do, like the other night I had like 250 lineups or something like that. It was ridiculous, and it worked out well for me. But tonight I'm just not loving it. I might just do like a couple 20 maxes or something. Ellie, you're not interested in fading anybody in this game, is that right? After we talked about it a little bit, did you change your mind?
Well, my initial stance is really just to fade the Bears in general. But again, that's not too viable. We're going to need guys like David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney. Somebody like that is going to be in the optimal. I really don't have much intention of fading anyone. I'm going to try and just build and see what kind of game scripts that look somewhat consistent that I like. The problem with a game like this is when you have a really good team going up against a really bad team, there's just too much variance that can come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So you could, say that the Packers go up, 21-3, and the second half is just a bullshit second half. That's where you could run into some random garbage points from the Bears. So it's just one of those scenarios where I'm just going to kind of be prepared for everything.
I really think that the Bears can score 21, 24 points in this game. That's just me personally. I know it's a tall order, but I think this hits the over. I think the Bears can basically in the fourth quarter get some garbage points and get you 24 points or something to that effect. Still, the game is going to be over by that point, but you just got to kind of plan for that kind of stuff. And who benefits from a garbage time game script? Is it Montgomery getting swing passes? Is it Khalil Herbert? Is it Damiere Byrd, like Allen Robinson? We got to try to think about that kind of stuff. So here's our Crown Their Ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
So, Ellie, you like A.J. Dillon at captain mostly because of his price, and his median projection is pretty high. I personally think that he is getting a little bit hyped up based on his previous performances. I kind of like Aaron Jones a lot more than A.J. Dillon, even at almost double the price tag, right? I don't know. Talk to me about your choice here.
Yeah, I think that he's underpriced given the workload that he's had lately. I think that this is very much a game script where you can easily handcuff Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So I just like that A.J. Dillon gives you the flexibility to be able to play multiple of Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and you can still probably jam in Aaron Jones.
Dillon!
Yeah. So that's really kind of my approach there. Again, like as we get closer to lock, I'm sure there'll be news kind of what Aaron Jones' workload is going to look like. If we start seeing that Dylan's just going to fall back into his 20-25% of snaps, then obviously this isn't something that I'm looking at. But right now, I just feel like he's too much of a smash play to not play him at captain.
I think this is an Aaron Jones like 3 touchdown performance type game where we just forget about him and he comes out and absolutely crushes. I think it's a possibility, and you can't forget about Aaron Jones. To me, MVS is priced well enough, but he's the kind of guy that can get you 2 receptions for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, the guy can absolutely go off. MVS, Lazard, Allen Robinson, these are the kind of guys that I'm going to take stabs at. But I'm really going to go heavy on the studs, Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. You're not watching this show for, to hear me tell you to play Devontae Adams at captain. We all know that. But these are other good options that you could fit all your studs in the flex. And you could have a core of guys that you can play in all your lineups and then kind of rotate out some of these cheaper captains to kind of keep it consistent. All right, so let's do a lineup build. Let me pull that up. Let's see here. We're gonna build a few lineups together. Where are we at here? How much time are we at? We at 25 minutes. All right, we can get through this pretty quick here. All right, so wait, why is it? Oh, that's why. Hang on, let me zoom in here. There we go. All right, so who do you want to build with? Actually, let's just optimize and see what happens. So AJ Dillon, a captain, right off the bat. So the median projections are liking AJ Dillon. I think it's a good option. I think he's going to be relatively popular at captain, maybe the 4th or 5th highest owned. Do you think?
I mean, yeah, he probably should be, especially if he's going to be getting the kind of workload that I'm anticipating to have. It's weird pricing. I figured DK would have. Didn't they have? They've had several backup running backs on the past couple slates, and they've been priced accordingly. So I'm surprised they didn't do that with AJ Dillon.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so where do you want to go now?
Let's start with Devontae Adams, actually.
Okay, Devontae Adams. So let's go Devontae. You can't go wrong here. He'll probably be the highest owned, probably. You want to put Aaron, or what do you think?
Yeah, let him out. Give me 1 second. Actually, I was going to say, yeah, put him in. I'm going to let my dog out.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
Copy that. Yeah, I'll get you. All right, so Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go A.J. Dillon here. Let's put A.J. Dillon in to see how easy this is to build. So you got 3 Packers. I want to put one more Packer in. So we got A.J. Dillon, 16.2K. Now let's go to the other side. Let's try to see if we can fit in Montgomery here, right?
Yeah, let's go Montgomery.
6,200. So let's go. Let's. Do you want to aim high, or do you want to find your value here and see what that leaves us?
Let's throw in Mercedes Lewis.
All right, let's see how that goes. Where is he? $400. 5,800 is where we're at. So we can get a guy like, we get the Packers defense. Don't hate that. Or you can get a guy like Cole Kmet.
Yeah, let's throw in Cole Kmet.
I think this is relatively well balanced. If I had to bet on 2 guys that could score a touchdown for the Bears, it'd probably be these 2 guys. Maybe Allen Robinson, maybe Mooney. What if we took out Montgomery and put in Mooney? Let's see what that gets us in these last 2 spots. That gets us 7,800. So what do you think here? How low can we get? I mean, Equimini St. Brown is 600. That's also actually a reasonably good option with Randall Cobb out. We've seen him score in the past. Do we go super low, or do you want to go like two $3,200 guys or something like that?
So we just did a full punt. Let's throw in the Josiah DeGuara.
Okay. I like it.
See where we're at. 5,200, and that's still Cole Kmet, right?
That's Cole Kmet. Oh, that's nice. All right, I'm saving that. All right, so with Devontae Adams at captain, you're going to have to do something like this.
That's not even terrible, though, considering.
No, it's not, but the 2 tight ends, the DeGuara and the Kmet, with the ownership, you still might dupe with some people, but I really don't think it's like going to be that bad. That's nice. I saved that. Or you can do like maybe Packers defense and Damiere Byrd.
Now, if you're going to do that, I would rotate out Devontae Adams at captain and throw in Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, yeah, for sure. So let's do that. Let's put in Aaron Jones as captain.
Yeah.
So Aaron Jones. Let's just see. So do you want to fade Rodgers here and put in Devontae?
Let's do it, and then let's do the handcuff again.
Yeah, I like it. AJ Dillon. So do you want to go Justin Fields in a situation like this?
Yeah, let's do Justin Fields, and then honestly, we can't get David. Well, what about A-Rob?
Let's go A-Rob. Let's do it, man. Screw it. 2,100. Where does that get us? That gets us Damian Williams. No, I'm probably not going to want to do that. Khalil Herbert, Equiminius St. Brown.
Gives us 1,500.
Herbert, it's a 3-3. I'd rather go Brown, to be honest.
Well, what about this? I guess instead of A-Rob, let's come down to Cole Kmet.
Okay.
And that gives us
31. Bears defense, no.
What about Jakeem Grant?
Jakeem Grant Sr.
Yeah. You got Jakeem, you got Josiah, and you got Damiere Byrd. I think all three of those are decent rotation pieces.
The only reason why I want to get 3 Bears is because I really do think garbage play will come into, it will come into this game for sure. All right, anything else here? What do you want to try? Anything else? Do you want to pull Fields and put Montgomery in and see how that goes?
Yeah.
All right, so Montgomery, so 8,100. We can do like a MVS here too. No, because we don't have Rodgers. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, what if we take out Adams and put in Rodgers and then MVS and see where we're at?
Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah, that's a good idea. Sorry. Aaron Jones, pull out Adams, put MVS in. That's 12.5K. So we can do quite a bit here. You want to put in Rodgers, you said?
Yeah, put in Rodgers.
500. So, hey. Mercedes Lewis.
This is a scary 5-1, but if I'm going to run a 5-1, this is probably what it's going to look like anyway.
Yeah. Or you can go full punt and get a Jesse James or one of these guys, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So you want to build anything else with Aaron Jones? What are you taking away so far with these high price guys from Green Bay? You're going to want to leave one of the studs out, most likely.
Honestly, it's not as difficult to build as I thought it was going to be initially. So what I'm going to be paying really close attention to is what AJ Dillon's projection for captain ownership does look like.
Yeah.
Because to your point, right, I think initially everyone's going to look at the slate thinking that he's obviously the slam dunk captain play. But based on what we're seeing, can we try one more with Aaron Jones? Let's do Aaron Jones at captain. Let's throw in both quarterbacks. I want Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
you got
sorry.
Yeah, you got
wrong. Ron. Sorry. Aaron Jones, Rodgers, Fields. All right, where are we going now?
Can we get Mooney?
8,400.
Let's throw in Mercedes Lewis.
Where are you, Mercedes? There you are. 3,500. Can't quite get the kickers, but we can get a guy like Jakeem Grant. We can get a DeGuara.
Yeah, I don't mind Jakeem Grant in this one, or Damiere Byrd.
Yeah, let's put Damiere Byrd up there just because we haven't yet. So both quarterbacks, it's fine, but I would rather just max one QB tonight.
Yeah, I think we're just right back where we were, but swap Justin Fields to David Montgomery.
Yeah. Let's try it. Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we absolutely can. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've seen these high price builds, we kind of know where we're going. Let's start to go down to some of these lower end guys.
Let's do
price
MVS.
Wise. So MVS. I'm gonna want to involve Aaron. And I really can't not play Aaron Jones tonight. Like me personally, I might have a 80-90% Aaron Jones. I just feel it. I feel it's an Aaron Jones night.
And the problem with Aaron Jones is when it is an Aaron Jones night, if you don't have him, you're done.
You're done for. It's like a Jonathan Taylor Thomas night, where he goes for 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns. What do you have? 7 touchdowns? I don't remember. Yeah. 16K. So let's try to get it in a Bear stud. We either go, let's just hang on a second. Let's see if we can do this with paying down at captain. Let's see if we can get all the guys that we want in here. So 5K, probably not unless you punt quite a bit. Or you can go Bears kicker, and you can go Jakeem Grant or something like that probably. But maybe not. So maybe we'll just rotate. If I'm building, I'll just be rotating Devontae in for Rodgers and Devontae in for Jones on a couple of lineups. But do you want to get Montgomery or do you want to get Justin Fields in this situation?
Let's get David Montgomery.
I think that is it. I think personally, you got to have one, if not two of those guys, don't you? From the Bears, you got to make a rule to just have at least one of those guys. I think.
Yeah, Fields, Montgomery, or Mooney.
Yeah, that's a good point. So 6,600. Do you want to go mid range here, or do you want to punt?
What happens if we throw in Cole Kmet?
That gets us 1,400, and that gets us Khalil Herbert straight up, which I don't hate. You got Montgomery and Herbert together. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it, man. Again, like, it's a weird handcuff, but sometimes that flexibility is what we need. We don't know what's going to happen here. This could be a David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert show. Justin Fields could throw 14 picks. I don't know, man.
All right, let's do A.J. Dillon, and then we'll send it off here. So where do you want to go here? Do you want to handcuff, or do you want to do the no Aaron Jones in the flex?
No, I want the handcuff, and then I want Aaron Rodgers. We'll fade Devontae on this one.
Okay.
And then let's go David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney if we can.
Montgomery, Mooney, and 2,400 left over.
Actually, let's do this. This is pretty much pretty close to what the optimal was spitting out. Swap out Darnell Mooney for A-Rob.
Okay. I don't think you can sleep on A-Rob tonight. I really don't think so. 4,600. That's A.J. Dillon, which we already have a captain. Jimmy Graham. I don't mind taking some stabs at Jimmy Graham, actually.
Yeah, this isn't terrible. I don't mind Jimmy Graham there. If you want to throw in Mason Crosby, that's fine too, which is actually a pretty decent build considering you got both running backs. So you're capturing all the offense here. I don't know, man. I don't hate this. I think A-Rob's priced awkwardly enough that you're leaving a lot of salary on the table.
So after building together, what are some of the things that are popping out to you tonight when you're going to build? What are you going to focus on? You setting rules? You're going to hand build tonight? You're going to optimize? What do you think?
No, I'm going to hand build tonight. It definitely looks a little bit more straightforward than what I was initially expecting. So with some of the value that we were able to find, I think we're going to be able to save some difficult builds.
Yeah. So are you setting any rules for maxing the amount of Bears you want to have in your lineups? Or are you going to embrace a couple 3 Bears lineups because of garbage time?
I think you can build some 3 Bears lineups because of garbage time. I don't build that way. I think our listeners know I run 4-2, 2-4s pretty much exclusively all the time. So I don't know if I'll be getting there tonight, but I think you're fine doing it.
All right, so final score prediction, and who is your low-owned guy you think can score?
Low-owned guy that I think that can score is Josiah DeGuara. Tight end, obviously. Yeah. I'm not taking too big of a stab there, but I'm really looking at this game probably being closer to 24-10 Green Bay.
I think I'm thinking the over. I'm thinking this is a 35-21 game, and it's a 35-7 game or something in the third quarter, and you get a couple garbage time touchdowns. I think personally. I think Allen Lazard is going to be under-owned. I think he's going to be under 20%, and on a showdown slate, I'm going to consider that relatively low-owned. I think Allen Lazard scores a touchdown. I think Equanimeous St. Brown is the ultra low-owned guy that I would pick to score a touchdown. Without Randall Cobb, I think it opens up a lot. So
yeah, I don't hate that, man.
So help us out, subscribe, guys. We appreciate a little bit of a different format of a show today, but we got our Cardinals playing tomorrow, Monday Night Football, against the Rams. That'll be a normal show. We're actually going to record that tonight, right, Ellie?
Yeah.
We're gonna record that tonight. There's not a whole lot of news to talk about for that, but I'm going to be on a plane tomorrow, so we want to get that out for you guys to make sure we have it. Help us out, subscribe. We're trying to get to that 500 subscriber mark. Really help us out, and we will see you guys tomorrow for Monday Night Football. Take it easy.